Hello my lovely ones, I had an incredible plan for this video. I was going to put the red mare in the place of peace and then talk to you at some length about how you bring your horse down, which was the question from my lovely YouTube viewer. However, as you can hear, maybe there's quite a lot of stuff going on. Somebody is hammering a fence. She was a little bit bothered by flies. She didn't really want to do place of peace or even standing still Olympics. So I thought, well, maybe we'll go for a walk. And then I thought, actually, this is quite a good video because as you can see, she's a little bit up. If you look a bit closely, she's got some slight worry lines around her eyes. She has 4 worry lines, and if we can see all 4 of them, then she's really worried. If you can only see 2 really vividly, like you can here, it means she's a little bit concerned. If she's in the place of peace, there are no lines at all. Now, this could just be, okay, we're walking. This could just be because she's got a fly. It could be any reason. You know, she could not have had quite enough sleep last night. But for whatever reason, she's not in her Zen mode. And you can see a little bit of white around the eyes there. But then I thought what I could show you is how we get her to bring herself down. So I'm not actually doing anything. In the old days, when she would have gone up, I would have asked her to do things. I would have disengaged those hindquarters. I might have bumped on the rope a little bit to get her attention back to me, to kind of say, here I am. I'm the person who looks after you. I'm the person who keeps you safe from mountain lions. What I've learned is that actually it's much more powerful to give them the safe space to bring themselves back down. So what you're doing is you're allowing them to have their emotion, and it's normally some form of worry because they're prey animals. So they get worried about stuff because, you know, they think things are going to come and eat them. So you let them have that emotion. You don't try and fix it. You don't try and take it away. You don't try and distract them from it. I used to have a big thing that they can only think of one thing at once. So if she got herself up with a little bit of anxiety, then I would, get her to do something else. And I think actually that can be quite a good tool. But what I want to do is I want to do more than that. I want her to have the lovely neuronal pathway in her brain that it's like snakes and ladders, that when she goes up, she can easily slide back down again. So when I say up, I mean that she's tense, she's on the alert, she's feeling a little bit insecure. You will all have felt this on rides, that thing when they grow a hand under you and everything in them goes hard, all the muscles go hard, the back feels hard under the saddle. They'll often stick their head in the air, so they'll literally go up. Thoroughbreds do this particularly. I have a theory about thoroughbreds. They're kind of aerial creatures. They're creatures of the sky. Whereas, say, a beautiful old draft breed, they're creatures of the earth, I think, because that's what they were bred for. Yeah. So, yes, so I'm installing that neuronal pathway, which means she can go up, but then she can bring herself back down. Now, do you see there's a little bit of a lick and a chew? Lick and a chew is one of the signs we're looking for. Normally means they're coming back from the fight and flight, which is the sympathetic nervous system, into rest and relax, parasympathetic nervous system. But I don't want to get too hung up on lick and chew because, as my friend Justin Cahoon says, I'm always looking at the whole horse. So is she relaxed completely? Now, actually, there, look, she's got a cocked back foot. That's a sign of relaxation. Her muscles in her body are reasonably soft, a little bit tight in the neck. Oh, and now we're off again. Okay. Are we off again? See, she's not at her happiest tonight. She really isn't. So yes, I look at the whole horse. I'd say actually that's, you know, a pretty relaxed horse. That's a horse you'd say is under your own control. But because we have very high standards here, I'm still looking at those little worry lines. I'm looking at the fact that she doesn't want to stand still. She just isn't in her place of bliss. So I'm going to follow her lead. Now, if she needs to move, that could be her way of coming down. What we were doing before is I was letting herself bring herself down by standing still, by creating a stillness, what I think of as a safe space. But sometimes if they've got a little bit of anxiety in them, they actually need to move it out. And that's what she's doing now. So I'm taking her lead. I don't know why she's smelling the park. Maybe some strangers have been up here today. Maybe that's what she's worried about. Yeah, so I'm going to let her reset herself in the way that she wants. And again, I used to slightly get this wrong because I thought the reset, the bringing down, was all about the stillness and the breathing and the mindfulness and this almost sort of meditative sense of bringing yourself as the human back to the present moment so the horse could come back to the present moment with you. And that is a really powerful tool, but sometimes they need to move. So if you're keeping them still, whatever's worrying them actually gets stuck inside. So sometimes they need to just get it out. Yeah, there we go. So I'm not leading her now, she's going this way. And this is actually quite good because it's really, you know, as usual, it's one of my terrible videos, but it is showing you a little bit of what I'm doing. So the whole time, I'm not judging what she's doing. You know, my plan was that she would be standing beautifully in the place of peace and I could talk to you about this stuff, concentrate on what I was telling you rather than having to have my focus on her, which I am having to now. But in a way, this is a sort of better demonstration. So yeah, we're moving. Are we moving? And now I might just stop and see what she does. Might just stop. So she's got that rope she can move on, but I'm going to establish a lovely, calm moment of peace here. I'm not stopping her doing anything, but I'm just giving her there an amount of rope. What's in the woods? Is there something in the woods? So there she's up a little bit again now. And we're walking. We might see if we could just go home again. And that's Flo shouting, but that hasn't brought her up too much. And actually I'd say now, she's a little bit more relaxed. So yes, I hope I'm explaining this well. I learnt all this from my friend and mentor Warwick Schiller, and I learnt it also from watching my very brilliant friend Justin Cahoon, very brilliant horseman, and another stunning horseman, Robert Gonzalez. And then I learnt the physiological aspect of it, the move from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic and back again nervous systems, from my friend Jane Pike. So all this is stuff that I've absorbed from people who really know what they're talking about. And in a way, when I started this little project, I didn't particularly want to pass on to you stuff like this, because I thought, you know, go to Warwick, go to Jane, because they're the absolute experts. But then I thought maybe it would be useful to see how a perfectly ordinary person who isn't a brilliant horse person understands this stuff and puts it into action. Because that might be, oh doodle, that might be a little bit more encouraging for you. And you can see how somebody who makes mistakes, who doesn't always get it right, who's still learning, uses this stuff. There we are. So I think actually the walking has been, oh, where are we going now? Has been perfect for her, and very much what she needed to bring herself down instead of the standing still. Gosh, that hammering sounds like gunfire. But the point is that you let them get themselves a bit up, and then you give them the opportunity to bring themselves down, whether it's by standing and breathing, whether it's by moving. And then, as you go on, here we are back at the field, there's Flo. As you go on, you can create a little bit of the up yourself. Oh! So you can put in a little bit of, tiny little bit of concern. You're always keeping them under threshold, and you might do that by, if you're working on the rope, so I might send her round, I might ask her for some quick transitions, I might get her to change direction, anything that she feels is a tiny little bit of pressure. And I always say you have to be careful about this word pressure, because it can sound quite negative. But the way I see it, the world has got pressure in it. I mean, you know, the world has got random people who suddenly appear with a hammer and start making firework noises. A horse will feel that as a pressure. So if I don't teach her to deal with pressure, then she's got no coping skills. And I'm very careful in the way I do it. I used to be a little bit of a blunt instrument. I did a lot of what was known as desensitizing, where you kind of chuck tarpaulins over them and wave plastic bags about. And I don't do that anymore because it just doesn't really work for us. I always feel you're in danger of overwhelming them, and then they go into a slight shutdown. So I just like to ask them a slightly heightened question. And with a very sensitive horse, that simply might be you raising your body energy. And then, oh yes, then they go up and they have that little bit of worry, and then you give them the space to bring themselves down. So they go up and they come down, they go up and they come down, and then that becomes second nature. So it means that when something out in the world does worry them, they've got an option to think their way through it instead of getting stuck in the adrenaline spike. You're getting stuck in that awful anxiety vortex. And the other thing that's really important, I have found, is not to label the emotions good or bad. Obviously, I don't want my horse to be scratchy or worried or unsettled. But I've learned not to judge those emotions, just to take them as they come. And I think, yes, if that's how you are today and that's what you need to express, that's completely cool. I'll just help you get that out so it doesn't get stuck inside. And then we don't get the awful explosions that you get from a shutdown horse. So in a way, I suppose what this is you're kind of helping your horses to deal with their emotions. And that's not a bad thing for human life either, is it? Are we off again? Are we off? Oh, boo-boo. Where are we going now? Oh, look. Okay, that's quite good. Are we a bit more relaxed now? A little bit. Still not in the place of peace. Still having a jolly good look. But again, I'm not rushing in there to fix it. I'm just standing. I always think of this, what I'm doing now is being incredibly steady. I'm like her Rock of Gibraltar. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, good girl. Okay, do we want to scritch and a scratch? Yes. So this isn't our Queen of Zen. And that's always the horse I want you to see. But in some ways, I think maybe that's been more useful for you. And I hope this is of help, because that's all I'm here for, to show you how I've taken a horse who used to rear and spook at everything and throw her head around so violently I thought she had a brain tumour, to somebody who is, even on a bit of a scratchy evening, which this evening is, still essentially a horse who has a sense of self, who's happy in her own skin, who is at ease with herself. And that's been one of the great... Hello? Hello? Where are we going? Do you want to scratch? Yes, we want. Oh, we want to scratch. Okay, we want to scratch. Yes, we do. That's been one of the great joys of my life. So there we are. Happy Sunday. And there's a little flow. Yes. Happy Sunday.